Here she comes, the highwaywoman. She comes with music for your soul, and then moves along. She moves along.
This is Bridget London, if you're just joining us, and I am so excited because I have my good friend Mr. Ted Russell Kamp on the Highwaywoman radio show, and he has a brand new record out this month called Night Owl, and I've got him on the phone with me, and we're going to be previewing tracks and talking about this fantastic new album that I feel really strongly is just going to break him out even further in his career. So we're excited to have you, Ted. Hey, how you doing?
I'm very good. Have a good day, and thank you again for having me as a guest on the show.
You bet. Now, are you in California right now? Tell me what's going on with you right at the present moment. You know, you've got so much going on always.
Well, right now I'm at home.
Okay.
So it's nice to be home for a little while. I've been doing a lot of great little gigs locally, some of my own, some I'm playing bass for other people. I'm actually producing a record for a good friend of mine named Jennifer Gibbons. And so we've been doing a lot of kind of afternoons at my home studio, cutting the vocals for that and getting the harmony vocals together and all. And then in almost exactly a week, I'm flying to Europe. I've got 3 weeks of solo shows.
Wonderful.
In Holland, Germany, Finland, and Sweden.
And you're going to be coming now to Texas for South by Southwest, right? We want to tell folks about that.
Yeah, I'm coming back to Texas. I got a 10-day tour planned. Ulster Hill Country, Austin. I'm playing Green Hall again, which I love. It's one of my favorite places to play in the world.
You bet.
And then I think I have a gig up in Fort Worth. So I'll be visiting some radio stations and playing and doing little live shows, and that's like the week of South by Southwest, and then the week after that, I'm staying around for an extra week to do more shows.
Cool. Well, we look forward to that, and we can't wait to see you when you come around here. And now I want to talk about this new record, Night Owl. I'm pretty stoked about this, Ted. This is a really beautiful, beautiful album. You should be very proud of all your work. I mean, you're such a great musician anyway, aside from being a singer and a songwriter. But what I think I like most about this record is your vocals are really showing really highlighting your vocals a lot more on this record, too, I think. Shows your range, yeah.
When I had the idea to do the record Night Owl, I wanted to do a mellow album. I don't want to say a little more singer-songwritery, but just let the songs be a little more serious and say what they need to say. And, I want people to understand the lyrics and hear the lyrics and get the mood, not only from the music, but from how I sing the lyrics. I very specifically wanted them all to be great vocal takes. Some of my older records, I kind of recorded with I kept the vocal track of the day of basic tracking just because it just kind of fits so well with the vibe.
Sure.
Whereas on this one, I really wanted to get the vocals right and let them be out front so they really can tell the story. So I'm glad that that worked.
I like them. I like them out front like this. I like you with the other stuff too, and you have such a great variance in everything that you do. You can do everything from funk to rock to blues to country, swing. You kind of move it all in together, but I think like we were saying, having them more out front really shows more of what a great singer you are, as well as a strong songwriter and musician. And I think that's really cool and gives people an opportunity to kind of look at really get the whole package from a different angle, I guess, from a different viewpoint.
Well, good.
And
thank you for saying that.
Absolutely. And let's play a track. I'm excited. Let's start off with one of them and tell me a little bit about At the End of the Day. Beautiful song.
Oh, thank you. At the end of the day, one of our first conversations, we met in a town that was not our home, and we talk about traveling and the choice you make to make music and be away from home. I mean, home is a beautiful place, and God knows I love getting home when I can and being home as long as I can. But so much of what we do is traveling around, whether it's out of the country or in other states, and there's a lot of miles in vans and rental cars and frequent flyer miles. This song is kind of particularly about the feeling of coming home, and in the song it's really just kind of the drive across town, like while you're headed home. But it's about coming home to security and love and warmth and wanting it to be as beautiful in reality as you remember it being. And one of the things I like about this song too is it starts out with the chorus and then ends with the chorus. It's kind of a not your classic first chorus bridge kind of pop arrangement. And I like how the lyrics at the end of each section kind of fold you right back into the beginning of the next section. In a way that when you are away from home and you miss it, everything kind of keeps leading back to it. And the meaning of every day is to, I guess, make it the best, but drive you back to where you want to be.
The song is called At the End of the Day, and it's from my special guest tonight, Ted Russell Kamp, his brand new album, Night Owl. And we'll be right back.
Babe, it's only twilight. It could be a good night. Just wait and see, so don't give up on me. Know the night is coming on, and it's a cold one, but it won't be long. A little bit of faith is all you need. At the end of the day, when I'm close to home, I can see.
And that was At the End of the Day, Ted Russell Kamp from his brand new album, Night Owl, here on the Highwaywoman radio show. This is Bridget London, and we're talking with Ted about his brand new album that drops this month. We're real excited about that. Ted is heading over to Europe shortly here to be promoting this album, and he'll be also coming back through Texas. He tours around solo, and he's also such a great musician that other people are often calling on him to come play with him, folks like Shooter Jennings and even Texas friends, that a songwriter friend of ours that he writes with, Robin Wiley, lives here in Texas. You do some stuff with Robin, too.
I do. Robin is wonderful. And actually, that's where we saw each other most recently.
Absolutely.
At a South by Southwest thing, I think it was last year.
Yes.
The Tex Chromosome. So I played with Robin, and every time I come back to Texas, she'll usually play a couple gigs with me, do harmonies with my band, and then I'll do some shows with her. And she's a great friend. We've known each other for about maybe 8 or 10 years.
Yeah, phenomenal singer. Love the pairing when you guys get together, and glad that that connection brings you back here a little bit more often too, you know.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about, how did you get started in music, Ted? You know,
I started originally in the 4th grade playing trumpet.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in my school. You either had to start an instrument or join the choir in 4th grade. And I was a very shy, quiet kid, and so singing kind of just scared the living daylights out of me. So I got into trumpet then, and I loved it. I really kind of took to it right away. Then in high school, I got a bass guitar and started playing rock in rock bands, and joined the high school jazz band and the orchestra, playing acoustic bass. And I played all through college. I was kind of convinced that you couldn't be a musician for a living. You know, my dad, I remember, he was funny, wonderful man, but he always used to say, you're going to be living in our house alone and broke in the basement.
Right.
Don't be a musician, it's crazy. And so I majored in other things in college, but I was in a million bands and conducted the pit orchestras and all this stuff. And then about 3 weeks, maybe a little more than that, maybe a couple months before the end of college, I just decided, hey, if I don't try music, I'll hate myself. And I'll know it was because of fear rather than anything else. So I moved to Seattle with my girlfriend, who later became my wife, bought an acoustic bass within 3 days in town. I just started answering ads in the paper for bass player wanted, talking on the street, and just started gigging. And that was 20 years ago. And I've done nothing but music ever since. So I was fully prepared to try music for a year and have it not go so well and end up applying to grad school and moving back to my folks or something. But thankfully that never happened. I've just been making music. And it's been wonderful. You know, part of the songwriting was not as important to me back then. Back then I was just a bass player, but I was really getting into lots of different kinds of music, playing with blues bands and honky-tonk country bands, and I used to love ska. Back when the swing revival happened, with Big Band Buddha Daddy and Broad Crown Review and stuff, I was playing acoustic bass a lot, so I was in a lot of those bands, and that kind of got me into jump blues. And then after a little while, I just kind of got back into the songwriting. And, I think I discovered the band which is a pretty big one for a lot of people.
Right.
And they combined this very, like Bob Dylan style singer-songwriter approach, but still eclectic and still roots music-y. And so kind of through them, I started writing more of my own songs. I started putting some bands together where I could be the lead singer. I ended up getting a publishing deal in Nashville for 4 or 5 years, which was great. I was able to go to Nashville a lot and write, and really learn more about the craft of songwriting. And so now I kind of split my time between doing my own tours, playing bass with people, producing people. I still go to Nashville to write every once in a while. Been writing actually more in Texas a little bit too. A lot of great writers in Texas, who many of which are kind of making the decision to write more personal music rather than, stuff to be on national mainstream country radio.
Right.
Which I definitely relate to a little more because it's just a little more honest, a little more personal.
Right.
And so that was really kind of the fuel for Night Owl, was combining all those things. Like I wanted to make a mellower and slightly moodier record, and then when I'm looking at all the songs I've written and co-written, I'm like, wow, okay, this is really going to be a songwriter album. And I still wanted to arrange it. Like I think there's only one song on the record, which is just acoustic guitar and vocal, which I really wanted to have at least one that was like that. But there's a lot of, accordion and Hammond organ and real thought put into what kind of guitar is going to be playing what line, who's going to be harmonizing it. There's some wonderful violinists who are the guests on some of the songs. Actually, At the End of the Day was one of them. And then it really just puts the vocals in the forefront. So I'm really proud of these arrangements. The friends I brought in to play on it and the tracks I did on my own that really kind of helped every song be lush.
Yeah.
And what it wants to be. You know what I mean? I wanted this to be a really warm and inviting record.
Well, you succeeded.
And I'm happy with the way it came out, and thank you again for enjoying it so much.
Yeah, I really love
wanting to play it.
I do. I definitely do. And let's play another track. Another one that grabbed me right from the start was We're Out West. Beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Well, We're Out West, I wrote with a good friend of mine, a guy named Dave Gleason, who I met in L.A. He's one of the real stalwarts of the country rock scene out here. And he's a wonderful guitarist, lead guitarist as well. Anyway, but he had moved to Nashville for a couple of years and was getting a little more disheartened by it. He was not really enjoying playing more of pop country stuff. Even the scene that's kind of the East Nashville, Buddy Miller inspired scene. And Gillian Welch, David Rawlings. He felt like a fish out of water. And I had been to Nashville a lot writing and was enjoying writing pop country style music less and less. So we got there, we're hanging out at his house, and we're like, hey, let's write a real Graham Parsons, moody, psychedelic country tune. He had the phrase We're Out West, and he had, I think it became the second verse. And he played it for me. I immediately loved it. And then we wrote the rest of the song that day. And I really wanted to kind of set a mood and take down a journey. And a lot of the songs, I'm not really trying to stick to any genre. I just kind of let it be what it wants to be. And this one, I really wanted it to be this kind of dreamy, spacious, like deserty California country song.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy with how it came out. So, We're Out West.
Find your day. Nights are restless lights. So the writers say, on the desert skies, walk the neon signs. The stars will shine so hard you can't sleep at night. Now the roads will wind.
And that was We're Out West, beautiful song off the new album Night Owl, from our guest here on the Highwaywoman radio show this week, Mr. Ted Russell Kamp. And now, Ted, you've got, we've talked a little bit about you're going to Europe and you're going to be coming back here to Texas in March. Is there any other projects you've got going on you want to share with folks?
I know I'm going to be putting together a tour in the Southeast, probably in April and May. And that'll mean like Nashville and Knoxville, maybe Charlotte, Atlanta, something like that. I've played a lot in those places. I have a lot of good friends in the Southeast. And really just hanging out at home. Like for a good, I played with Shooter Jennings for a good 6-7 years, and we toured a lot. It ended in around 2010. And so for about two 2 full years, 2.5 years, I really just kind of booked myself. I had just put out the record, Get Back to the Land, and I just kind of went for it. I really wanted to prove to myself that I could make music for a living on my own, kind of as my own band leader, rather than playing bass with people. And so I played, I was going about 2 weeks a month, maybe 2 weeks or 2.5 weeks every month on the road, and then 8 to 10 days or 2 weeks at home every month. I just kind of repeated the cycle of going to different regions and different countries. And it was wonderful, and I'm really glad that I did it, but it was quite exhausting. So now I've kind of, So now I've decided to kind of be home a little more. So I'm trying to be home for a month or 6 weeks at a time before I do another run. So it's exciting. I'm glad that I can actually be home and enjoy kind of family life, getting my home studio up and running and producing people more. Actually had a great meeting with a guy, Clay DeBose, who's a rootsy country guy, very talented. And I might produce his record this summer. This other woman I'm working with, Jen Gibbons. She goes by Funky Jen. The band name is Funky Jen and the Bad Intentions. So I'm working on her record with her. Just playing bass with people. I actually did a gig this last weekend with James Invelt.
Oh,
who is,
James. Very cool.
Wonderful. Yeah, James is just great, and we've been friends for a long time. And I've probably played bass in his band, maybe a dozen times. It's been mostly Southern California and LA shows, but he's just great. The way he takes different kinds of roots music and kind of blends it all together, and then just still sounds like himself. He's wonderful. Right.
Cool.
So anyway, James is a great example of someone I love playing with. And one of the great things about music is there's like the history of music is so deep that it's almost like you turn your head and you discover something new. It's been there for years. You just haven't really noticed how beautiful it was. And the more you do it, the better it gets, and the deeper it gets. Yeah,
Absolutely.
that was my last week and my next few months.
That's great. Like I said, we're really excited about you coming back here to Texas and looking forward to all the great things that are going to happen with this brand new album. We want to tell folks that they can get it at all digital retailers here after next week, right?
Yeah, iTunes, Amazon. I think I'm going to have it on CD Baby. Lone Star Music is going to have them. I'll have them, it's on my website, tedrussellkamp.com. So you look, it's out there.
That's right. Night Owl from Ted Russell Kamp, and he's on Facebook and Twitter and all that good stuff, right, Ted?
Yeah, you got it.
We'll go out with Heart Has a Mind of Its Own, which I really love. Really love this record again, Ted. Thank you so much for being on the show. And please don't be a stranger. Come back and see us when you come back to Texas, okay?
I would love to. And we have to meet up for a drink when I'm back in Texas in March.
I would love that. I enjoyed, we had a good time. We sang together. I don't know if you remember that at Douglas Corner in Nashville.
I think that's
the night
we first met.
It was the night we met. Yep. We had a few shots,
you had
though.
brought together. We did do a little bit of drinking after we played. No, but you had gotten together Richie Albright and a bunch of Waylon Jennings' old band.
The Spirit of the Outlaw show, it ran for like a year.
It was wonderful. And then you just performed wonderfully, and they all did too. I sat in on a tune, which was awesome because, having played the Shooter, I used to do
they all love
Waylon
you. They all love you. They thought it was great.
I used to do Waylon and Jesse Coulter tunes in my bar band gigs.
Right.
And, and of course you try to do them as wonderfully as you can. But you're still kind of paying homage to this great artist. And it's like, okay, if I can through Lonesome or Mean without insulting Waylon in the song, I'm happy. But then when I start to play with Shooter and we're doing this stuff and, I actually did a bunch of gigs as Jesse Coulter's bass player.
Very cool.
And it's like at that point you're like, okay, this is part of the family. This is really part of this beautiful country music legacy.
Right.
And then to see you, respect that and appreciate that so much, and then be welcomed into that family as well, and then just really be deep and wonderful and do it justice. That was a great and inspiring night, and I'm glad that we kind of bonded then and have stayed in touch.
Me too. And I was really happy to have you. And the guys all loved you. And it was fun. There's something so soulful about when you get together with a bunch of people that all love the same and have a reverence for the same things, in common, and getting to share that and kind of bring that to life. And of course, to play with such incredible musicians is an honor, and to share that all together, there's nothing more fun in the world than that. And I really was excited that we finally got a chance to meet and become friends. And, you know, Ted, I have so much respect for you in many facets of the business. You're not only a great artist on your own, singer-songwriter, but also a consummate arranger, producer, musician. And I'm really happy to see things happening for you, you know, for Ted Russell Kamp.
Thank you very much.
You know, because you've lent yourself to so many other things that have happened, and that's great. But it's nice. It's time for you now. You know what I mean? This is a good time for that. So rock on, man, and have a great year. And we're gonna go out with "Heart Has a Mind of Its Own." The name of the record is "Night Owl." Ted Russell Kamp, folks. Thank you, Ted.
Thanks again. True pleasure. True pleasure.
And it stops every time you walk in, and it drops its beat time and again. And when it falls just like a stone. Yeah, my heart is a mind of its own. Yeah, my heart is a mind of its own. And it just might know more than I do. It just goes on and on and on about you.
Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Bridget London, and this has been the Highwaywoman Radio Show.
Now there she goes, the highway woman, and she's brought music